I knew my worth. I just wanted the man that I wanted to act like he knew my worth too. If you've ever found yourself trying to prove your worth, that means you actually do know your worth. You just got to stop taking the shit so personal when the man won't act right or act like he knows your worth or treat you like you are valuable. And so I think sometimes we get so caught up in these men, for one, because we may be really attracted to them or really like them, and we want them to really like us. And it sucks to be rejected or to not be seen in all of the light that you know you carry. It sucks to not be valued the way that you value yourself, the way that you know that I'm a good ass woman. Why can't he see that and act right? We could be so great together if he just act right. I've been there. I get it. And so I want you to know that when all of that ends and you're left sitting there heartbroken, I want you to pick yourself up and realize what I'm telling you right now is that, girlfriend, you do know your worth. You do. And you also have self-love. I know they like to paint that picture that women that end up in bad relationships where they're proving themselves or tolerating bullshit ass behavior, that, oh, she doesn't love herself enough. She doesn't know her worth. But I find that majority of the time that woman really does know that she's a shit. She's just waiting on that man to recognize it. I think this has a lot to do with the scarcity mindset or just a matter of just wanting who the hell you want. And you want whoever you want to want you back. And you have a scarcity mindset around it because you don't think you'll ever want a man like that again. You don't think that you'll ever fall that hard for a man again. You don't think that it won't ever be a more perfect man than him. And you feel like it would be just perfect if he would just act like he knew your worth. If he would just treat you right. If he would just do right. Like you like all the things about him, but you don't like how he treats you. You don't like that he doesn't value you like you should be valued. And like for me, I fell for this bad, proving myself to this man. And I don't know, it was because he loved bomb me in the beginning, but I found myself like overdoing it, overextending myself, trying to prove myself to him, trying to prove like I'm a good woman. And I also realized I had it bad doing that with him, with my ex in particular, because he had major trust issues and insecurities. He was afraid of love, basically, and he admitted it on other occasions. And so that made me even more want to prove that I'm a good woman so that he could fall for me the correct way and not be afraid to love me and not be afraid to be in love with me and not be afraid to have a relationship with me, to have a commitment and to have an honest one to where he don't feel like you got to cheat and run every time the love gets too deep, you know? So my thing was I wanted him to see how good of a woman I was, how well I treated others, my empathy, how understanding I was, how loving I was, how good of a heart I had, how just really genuine I was, because I'm like, I know that I would never do anything to hurt someone that I love, and I never have and never will. I need him to see that. I wanted him to value those things about me. And so therefore it put me on this chase of proving myself to him. And it's like almost like I had to win him, you know? And I hated that. I look back on it like, dang, I hated that he had me down like that. And sometimes a man you really want will have you doing that shit before you even realize it. And I bet you do know your worth. If you're trying to prove your worth, that means you know you have something to prove. It means you know that there is something valuable about you, that you have that within. And so if you're trying to prove your worth, that means you have something to prove. You do have self-worth. You do know your worth. What I need for my ladies to do is just to understand that not everyone is going to understand what your value is. Not everyone is going to appreciate that. You can be all of these great things. Be a very genuine woman with a very genuine heart. Just a good old woman. Just good as hell. You know, all the good things. Like just really true and genuine. Authentic. All those good things. But that doesn't mean that every man you like and date is going to see it and agree with it. He's not going to value those things because maybe that's not what he's looking for. Or maybe he just doesn't know how to value it. Or maybe he is just so afraid to value it because he is afraid of the commitment that comes with it. He's afraid of being in a relationship. He's afraid of being tied down, quote unquote. Whatever it is, he's not every man is going to know what to do with that and to see that. And so I need you to understand that your worth always is what it is. Whatever you say it is that. Like, you are always worthy. You're always worthy of genuine connection, genuine love, real love, authentic love. And you're always worth being treated right. You have to understand that. And you don't have to prove it. If you have to prove it, or you feel yourself like getting to that point to where you have to kind of prove yourself, I need you to stop and take a step back and realize that that's not your job. You should not be doing that man's job for him. You should not be trying to show him how good of a woman you are. You should not be trying to show him why you deserve his good treatment. You should not be trying to do anything to make him realize what's within you and what he has with you. If he don't see it on his own, he just don't. And I want you to also know that doesn't mean that you are unworthy. I think sometimes we start taking that shit personal when our worth is not seen, or we're not treated like we're valuable, or treated like we're worth it, We start taking the shit so personal and having it sit so close to heart that it makes us question ourselves. Like, am I really as worthy and good as I believe I am? If he can't treat me right, and if he's not doing the things that he should be doing for a woman like me, you start to think like, is it me? And you start to look at yourself in the mirror differently. Like, so, you can't let what other people's vision of you derail you from what you know about yourself. You got to look at it as like, I see you don't know who I am. That means I got to exit. I got to leave. Because you're not at the stage yet to fully value me. Or you can't, or you won't, or you just don't want to. And you got to accept it. You got to accept that he just don't know. You know, though. I think what it is that we believe that those men that treat us that way, that mistreat us, and don't value us like we value ourselves, we think that they must know something more about ourselves than we do. Because we're like, I know all this about me to be true, that I'm a good woman. So what is that going on over there? Why doesn't he see that? We start to kind of, want to pry him for information and to prove ourselves like, no, you got me wrong. No, let me show you this and this. We start to get on this like chase and start playing these games with him. Because we're trying to figure out, okay, what's the info you got on me that I don't have on myself? For you to sit there and not see the good woman standing before you, what's going on? We can make this work if I can just help you to realize that. No. Do you see how that sound? You don't got to prove a damn thing to no man. You don't. You don't have to prove how good of a woman you are. And I'm going to tell you something else, a little secret that I've realized about men that mistreat women like that. Half the time, they do know your worth as well. They can look at you and tell that you're a valuable and a good woman. Because why else would they even approach you? Why else would they even try to pursue you? Or, why else would they do that? They do see some type of value in you, but they know that them seeing the value in you may actually cause them to not get what they want out of you. They know that if you don't know your worth and you're in a constant state of not knowing your worth and you're questioning it because he's not treating you like you're valuable, then you're going to stick around trying to chase him. It's like now the ball's in his court and he has full control over you because you don't know your worth, or you're questioning it because he is. And so now he has all the control. He can get whatever he wants out of you. He get you to do whatever he wants you to do for him. In knowing that men can play games like this, that's even more reason why you should not stick around overextending yourself trying to prove your worth to him. And I just seen this with my ex and how he treated women before me. And yes, I was one of those women that thought, I'm different. He's going to treat me different. He just hasn't been loved correctly, and I can do that. I think sometimes when we women have low self-love, or we're unsure of ourselves, we're unsure of the self-love we possess and the worth we possess, we kind of know it's there, but we haven't expanded our way into it, we tend to overcompensate for that lack of self-love and self-worth we have yet to expand into by thinking that we are able to just love that man through his shit and love that man to his healing and be just the best woman he's ever had. And so we tend to start thinking that because we are low on our own self-love and self-esteem. And the reason being is because when you're low on those things, you need the validation to make yourself feel like, okay, I am lovable. I do have self-love. I am worth. I'm all these things because look, I got someone to love me and I healed someone with my love. And you want something to show for it, for you to believe it, because you don't know how to believe it on your own. And so when you're like that, you're always searching for some type of validation. You're always searching for it within men that you meet and date. And sometimes we do this subconsciously and don't even realize we're doing it. We don't even realize that we're chasing after the broken, damaged men, because those men can be very charismatic and very attractive too. They're not just the bums on the street that you see, or they're not just the balmy men, the dusties, wherever people like to call him. They're not just those men. They can be the very attractive, well-accomplished men. And when you see that man, and then you see that, oh, he's just a little broken, you're like, oh, that's perfect. I can fix him. And it's all because we are looking for that validation to prove to ourselves that we are who we believe we are. Because we don't know how to stand on business on our own about who we are. And I've been that girl. I get it. And a lot of us didn't have the validation we needed in our upbringing. We didn't have parents poured into us because of who we are. We didn't have parents poured into us outside of what we could do for our parents, like making sure that we do what we are asked of, making sure that we get good grades, whatever it was that our parents had us doing. It sometimes was never as deep as, I just love you for being born. Not saying that a parent would actually come out their mouth and say that, but make you feel that way. Make you feel that you're matter and that you are worthy just because you were born. Like, I never felt like my mom loved me for that. I never felt like my mom actually loved me that deeply, I never felt that. I felt like, I honestly used to say to myself when I was a kid, that I felt like my mom had us just so she could have little maids around the house, because we do everything now. She just cooks, but we have to do everything. And if we don't, we're getting in trouble. That's all she would yell at us about and talk to us about, is doing this, do that. It was, and then when we did it, then she'll be all happy and loving towards us. It was never because of just who we are. I never felt that kind of love. And so, yeah, if you have a similar upbringing, and that's even similar in the least to that, like when you didn't feel that genuine love flowing to you in your household, then yeah, you are going to be an adult doubting your self-love and doubting your self-worth, doubting your self-esteem. Like, I feel like it's all there, but it's just pushed down and suppressed because you don't know how to tap into it, because you have not been loved for who you are. So you don't really know unless you have someone to validate it. So it's like you're almost searching for that validation in these men you date. You're searching for the final piece to your healings for you to say, yes, I knew it. I am lovable. I am worthy. I'm all those things. I got this man to act right. He loves me. Look, yes, I knew it. Yes, I am. And it's just never going to come. It's not because he hasn't met the right woman. It's not because he just needs the right woman to love him through his shit. It's not because he needs the right woman to prove herself to him. It's none of those things. It's because of who he is as a man. His problems are his problems. Just like your problems are your problems. Just like your need for validation, that's your problem. But yet you're trying to make it his problem and he ain't fixing it. So y'all both coming to each other with these self-problems, trying to get each other to fix them, and it ain't working. Yeah, listen. When you really, really think about it, like, I know some people like to try to argue with, I don't attract people like me. Yeah, you do. On the psychological level, yes, you do. If you have all these doubts about yourself and you're looking for outside validation or someone outside to come and fix it for you, you're going to run into men with the same idea and same problem. And he's going to prey on that, thinking like, oh, look, she ready to prove herself to me. And maybe that's what I need for me to feel like I can treat a woman right. For me to finally trust love. I just need me a good woman. And here she is. And so y'all both look at each other like, okay, we got something to prove to each other. Let's go. And it just don't work that way. It cannot. Y'all both have to be self-sufficient as adults. Healthy adults. That know who they are, that are self-assured in who they are. That's how you have a healthy connection. And so I said all of this to say this. You do know your worth. Stop telling yourself that you don't. If you've ever tried to prove your worth, or if you've ever been in situations like I described, to where you are trying to overextend yourself to a man that seems like he doesn't know your worth and value, but you're feeling like you just need to do that extra push so he can finally see. If you've ever found yourself doing any of those things, yes, you do know your worth. I just need you to understand that those men that don't value you, that don't see what you're worth, that don't know your worth, that is a him problem, not a you problem. Quit making it your problem that that man can't see your worth and treat you like your worth. It's not your problem. Yeah, it sucks and it may hurt and you may feel rejected, but I need you to reject him. Because it's obviously something wrong with him if he can't see what you're worth. If he's not ready to treat you right. If he's needing you to prove yourself to make him realize that, okay, she does deserve my good treatment. She's proven herself enough. You're never going to prove yourself enough to a man like that. Never. It's never going to be enough. Because his issues are his own. So, understand that if that man don't know your worth, deuces. You know, what do you need him for? He's not ready to show up and treat you right. You know it. That's enough. And even if you know your worth is a little rocky, you're a little unstable in it, you're not quite sure of it, there are other ways for you to understand your worth and understand who you are. You can do that yourself, for yourself. Find you some goals and start achieving some goals. Start going after some things that you want for yourself. That is going to also give you the validation you're looking for, because you're going to validate yourself using yourself, if that makes sense. Like, you're going to basically go out and set these goals and prove to yourself that you got it in you to do it, that you can do it. Whatever it is you want, no matter how small or how big. Stuff that you want for yourself, that for your own life, you're going to go after it and you're going to do it. That's how you build up your self-worth. That's how you build up your self-love. Not looking for it in a man. Build you up, then go find a man. It will be a much better connection. I guarantee it. So, that's all I got for this podcast episode. I hope this helps. As always, you can check out my bonus content on my Patreon. That's linked in bio. I also do coaching. And I also have books. I've been thatgirl.net. Everything is there. So, that's all I got. Peace out, girlfriends. To the next one.
Excuse me, can I please talk to you for a minute?